It's loading. Cool. All right, I'm counting down now.
Greg and Cami, welcome to the first ever BSC News live stream.
How's it going? I'm super excited to jump on this. This should be something that happens more frequently now. I think we even have another one scheduled in for Friday, depending on how this one goes.
Oh, we'll be there Friday. Cami, how's your day going?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. I don't know if I'm frozen at the moment. I'm watching myself and I look a bit frozen.
I think you're just maybe a little lagged. You'll catch up.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, so what we'll talk about today to get this going is really all of our intros into cryptocurrency, into DeFi, maybe even talk about BSC News founding a little bit. We are the three founders of BSC News, so it's kind of fun to be on here and talk live about it. But Greg, why don't we start with you? And how did you get into crypto?
Yeah, so I'm the crypto noob out of all of us. I first touched crypto in high school, actually, and this was in 2017. And I would use crypto to degen gamble on like roulette sites. And I learned really quickly not to take negative expected value bets. And so that's kind of how I dabbled into crypto. I was just watching crypto like moon while I was losing all my money taking negative expected value bets. And I learned really quickly that was just not it. And so I kind of missed the first or the second bull market, but this time around I started seeing like the patterns. I saw the cycles lining up again, and that's kind of what really got me into crypto. And then I ended up getting dragged into DeFi. But yeah, that's kind of how crypto started for me. So I'm fairly new. I'd say I'm more of an entrant in 2021, definitely.
Gotcha. And Cami, what about you?
So my journey started, I would say, around 2015. I was intro to Bitcoin via my brother. He introduced me to Bitcoin, and I started OTC trading Bitcoin and Ethereum. Well, not Ethereum at the time, just Bitcoin on like localbitcoins.com and sites like that. And then after that, I started off buying Ethereum when it first ever came out. Didn't make a fortune on it. I actually sold that at the bottom. Anyway, and then my brother as well was talking to me about ICOs. I didn't understand ICOs and the blockchain at that time. Like it was something really bizarre to me. And he was like, "Oh, look, you missed Ethereum. You should jump on this ICO. Like it's going to be the next big thing." So I put some money into that. I actually got rugged. At the time, it wasn't called rugged; it was just called scammed. So we got scammed on that, lost a bit of money there. But I didn't really lose any sight in crypto. I still stayed in crypto, and that was in 2017. So it was part of 2017 in the run up. And then when 2018 came, I really focused on trading. So I was doing charts and stuff like that. But because there was no futures at the time, I kind of transitioned over to FX and was over there trading charts. And then I was still OTC trading at the time. Came back over full time trading on in crypto. And then I think 2020 is when I really dived into DeFi. I was talking to someone that I was doing OTC trading with, and I was like, "What's Uniswap? And where's all this stuff come? Why is YFI gone from 0 to like 30K? What is it going on?" He's talking to yield farming, and I'm like, "Mate, I honestly don't understand what you're talking about." So I was like, you know what? I just need to get into DeFi and just understand what is going on. So I dived into Ethereum and just went literally full 100% going into DeFi, which I would say isn't a great idea because I learned, I don't know if it's the hard way or is it the only way. I was just jumping into projects and I got rugged and got scammed and saw these, see all these yields.
Too far into DeFi, let's kind of jump back to Ben because we'll touch on DeFi next, and we can definitely talk on that for super long.
Right. So crypto, I started in 2017, and it was when stuff was going real wild. I had actually mined Bitcoin from my laptop in like 2013 or 2012, like really early on. I had no idea what happened to it. Like I mined for like 2 days and was like, I'm getting free stuff here, right? And then I got bored with it and moved on, which was a mistake. So in 2017, though, I think like everyone or a lot of people, it's like the prices were going crazy. Things got more interesting. The first crypto I bought was XRP. And the reason for that was the mistake that Cami loves, which is it was so cheap compared to Bitcoin, right? Like when I bought Ripple, it was like 4 cents, something like that. And then the market pumped and then it dumped like crazy, as everybody knows. So towards the bottom, I had done a bunch of research on mining. And so I started mining Ethereum and Ravencoin, pretty much anything a graphics card could handle. And from that, I started doing like a high frequency trading using trading bots. And that went on for like a year. So I was mining and doing that at the same time until I was looking for ways to make income without having to be a good trader because I'm a shitty trader. And so that's when I found DeFi, which I guess I don't know, maybe this is the segue into DeFi because, for me, DeFi was a way to generate income and like a way to calculate the income without having to worry about theoretical loss, right? It's like you just earn interest on stuff. And I had tried like leverage trading and it just got like destroyed. And I didn't have the time to put towards it probably. I think to be an effective trader, you've probably got to be, it's a full-time job, I would think. And so like Cami, I got into Ethereum DeFi. I got like scammed over and over again, probably chasing APYs more than anything, right? Like I want to try to think of early Ethereum projects that I would have paired some Ethereum with a token and 1,000% APY that gets just demolished and then you lose all your money. So that was probably the beginning of it.
Yeah, I got into lending and borrowing on Cream in August near the top. I think Cream was trading at like $150, $200 a token, and it literally melted from emission rewards. I think it was like down to like $30, $40. And I rode that whole thing down at the top of DeFi summer. And that was kind of my introduction to DeFi.
Yeah, I didn't get into the lending and borrowing because the APYs were too low for what I was looking for. Right. So I was looking for like those LP pairs. And I actually on BSC, I came over to BSC almost like on accident. and it was when Pancake Swap launched, like on their first day. And I was just mesmerized by the fact that I could like harvest my cake every hour for like a penny and then reinvest it. And so from there, for me, I was just on BSC from that point on. Like I never went back to Ethereum. I have money trapped on Ethereum that I'm probably never going to get out unless the fees come down. But
yeah, so
yeah.
like I don't want to like say anything bad like about Ethereum, but I had such a bad experience with Ethereum in DeFi because it was so expensive. Like by the time I could, even though I was chasing high APYs, like you said, by the time like I would have made something that was worth even harvesting, it just never worked out. And then, like you said, coming over to BSC, I had a perfect experience into DeFi. Like I could harvest every minute because the APYs are so high and BNB was so cheap, and it was just like I wasn't looking at it in a dollar value. I was looking at like if I could make one Ethereum every like 10 minutes, that was great. Even if it was worth $1, I just knew that I could make an Ethereum, and then that was valuing it in the actual cryptocurrency. And for BNB, when I was harvesting, it was just amazing because at times I could harvest and it'd be like 5 BNB, and I'm like, whoa, this is how I'm making so much in BNB value. And then seeing the price increase now, I still see a positive outcome with DeFi on BSC compared to Ethereum because it's still expensive and it just doesn't make it worthwhile for anyone.
Yeah,
That's just my
100%.
perspective.
Between the fees and Cream absolutely nuking, that was kind of like what made me switch off Ethereum DeFi, because even though I caught the top of DeFi summer, I still wanted to participate in DeFi, but I just didn't have the capital to pay the fees. So when I saw Cream kind of migrated the basis of their protocol over to the Binance Smart Chain, I realized, okay, this is the exact same thing. It's EVM compatible and I can actually participate on this. And I really like the idea of Binance Smart Chain because I was around right when it started. I didn't kind of have this feeling like, oh, crypto's been going on since 2013 and I'm left in the dark. It was like DeFi's really just getting popular this year and the Binance Smart Chain came out. So I kind of just really started putting my focus there, especially because it just made the most sense. Like I couldn't operate in the farms I wanted to on Ethereum.
Okay, so how did you actually like Gwyn, how did you actually get into DeFi? Like what from getting into crypto, what said to you, okay, I've bought this token and that token? What like how did you find out that DeFi was a thing and how to use it?
Yeah, I don't even know. I think I was just really exploring crypto. I got into trading crypto a little bit before that and just watching videos. So something I did is I have a specific YouTube only for crypto, and it kind of would just start throwing like it started trading traditional markets, and as I just dove more into the crypto rabbit hole, I started like landing on DeFi, and I was like, okay, wait, this is really cool. You're telling me I deposit my token into this platform and I get interest, but it's not like a dividend. It's not 5% over a year. You're telling me I can get 100% within a couple months. Like this is really interesting. And so kind of like the YouTube algorithm started pushing me towards it. And one of the accounts I found that is just like been immensely valuable is Finmatics, and it's these animations of just DeFi concepts.
I think we did we lose him there for a second?
He's frozen on us.
We'll leave him frozen. So, what about you, Cammy? What really drove you to focus on DeFi?
So, if I'm honest, because I was OTC trading at the time, I was always been into crypto. And like I said at the start, like the person that I was dealing with at the time, I was asking him questions, and it really, really interested me. Of like, I don't understand what's going on with DeFi. I don't get what DeFi is, and I've heard of Uniswap and I've heard of this, and I'm like, okay, I just need to try it. So I actually tried it, and I was amazed about like how it worked. So really, I think yeah, he's gone. He's disconnected.
He's rugged.
So yeah, basically, when he told me about it, and he was like, "You need to just go to Uniswap and just try it out there." I just literally started off from there, and like Goon said, just watched videos on YouTube and basically did that, and then lost money to learn. And I think that was the biggest thing is I had to lose money. I think to learn proper DeFi. Maybe I'm wrong, but that was just how I learned.
No, I think you're right. Like, to learn, because especially in the beginning of DeFi, there wasn't a lot of good resources on how to use it wisely. So no idea like what a rug pull was until you start getting rug pulled, and then you have like 6 positions that disappear in a week, and you're like, okay, so I can't just jump into the brand new thing. And then also the thing that killed me quickly, that I learned from quickly though, was when a new platform launches and you compare their token with Ethereum, right? So the highest APY pool.
Mm-hmm.
I learned very quickly that you could put $1,000 into that, making 4,000% interest, and then the next day it's worth $100. So that was pretty common. Other things I learned the hard way was probably like, if you're buying the stuff that people are shilling on Twitter, you're probably too late. Yep. So that's I bought into a bunch of like, this token's gonna be amazing. this guy's 80,000 followers or something, and then it just plummets after I buy it. So I think
everyone has that.
It's the exact same experience, right? Like it doesn't end.
I was really, really, really close of stopping DeFi because it just wasn't beneficial to me on Ethereum until like I found Binance Smart Chain, and that's what really made me stick around. It was BSC.
Well, I think at BSC there was a point, especially when we started BSC News, it seemed like it was impossible to lose money for a while, for like 3 straight months.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys remember that, but it's like you compare something and all of a sudden it's twice the value 3 times. You're making crazy interest. It's still great, but back then it was like it's a gold rush.
And I think it's important to note it didn't. And by the way, I'm back now.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah, I got my internet kicked out, so that kind of happened. But to kind of refute that point just a little bit, farming like Pancake Swap for a little bit, the price didn't really do much. It was kind of just had this inflationary pressure and was consolidating. And then BSC went on this tear in November, December. And that's when it was really like, okay, it's really hard to lose money in the Binance Smart Chain. And just to like go full circle there, it kind of feels similar to that. Like there's a lot of tokens that I'm farming right now where the fundamentals, I like them, but the price isn't really doing too well. So I'm kind of just thinking I learned from my lesson because I sold nearly all the cake I had way too early.
I sold a lot of cake very early.
Yeah, I remember farming cake at like 40, 50 cents and having a lot of it. Like that was my entire portfolio at one point, and I definitely would have outperformed where I'm at now, which is just really funny to think about.
Yeah, I think you actually got me back into cake after I always look at those. I usually look at those tokens as like a means to generate income. Earn the cake, sell the cake, you made some income. I don't typically hang into them for too long, but cake has done well. I got back in at like 50 cents and now is it $20 now?
Yeah, something like that. I think it's at 18 right now.
18. Yeah. So,
okay, so go on, sorry.
Well, I was going to ask, we obviously talk to each other all the time about crypto or, the people that we work with. And what's it like in your real life? That's always like, there's like the crypto life and then there's like the real world that we actually live in. And, Greg, we'll start with you. You're a younger guy with, I would think your friends are probably more interested in something like crypto, but what's it like trying to explain this stuff to your friends?
I lose everyone at DeFi. That's typically where I start to lose people. But whenever I tell people I'm into crypto and that's kind of what I do, it doesn't get too much further than Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and NFTs. Like that's where it starts to limit there. Because DeFi just loses a lot of people. I will say I think it is easier for people who don't really have too much prior market knowledge to get into DeFi because you don't really have to battle with conventional things like what order books are and all of that. You kind of just understand that decentralized exchanges use automated market makers and things like that. But overall, yeah, it's a little bit, there's definitely a barrier to entry for DeFi. I think it scares a lot of people away. Like even my family, I remember first trying to explain to them like what I was doing on Cream. I was like, oh yeah, I have this Cream token and I'm supplying Cream in Bitcoin and I'm earning more tokens for supplying it. And they're like, wait, what is going on here? Like, it's just interesting. So that's kind of where I'm at. I lose a lot of people at DeFi, and there's only like a couple friends that what it really comes down to is just people need to be interested enough to put their time into it and just learn a little bit on their own, and it's not so bad. But that's just kind of where you lose most people, I feel like.
Yeah, I remember.
Sorry, go on.
I was just say to add to his story about Cream. I was telling my mother-in-law about DeFi, and the AMM that was super hot at the moment was Thug Swap, and I was like, so here's what I'm doing. I'm earning thugs, which I can then stake and get a bunch of hoes, and then this is generating more income than I actually make in my real job. And I'm just earning thugs and hoes. And then she was like, are you going to go to jail? And I was like, I don't think so.
That was part of my issue too. I remember trying to explain the Thugs ecosystem to people. And like, I would lose them even before I got into DeFi concepts, which is just funny.
But it was a fun ecosystem. I will give it that for sure.
So, Greg, have you successfully ever transitioned someone into DeFi?
Yeah, I have. I've actually transitioned a couple friends, and like the main thing for that is just I always like to send them a little bit of the hard resources first, just to get like their gears turning, kind of get the idea of what smart contracts are, all that basic stuff. And then it becomes a lot easier for people when they see how the dApps work and understand it. But I think a key point that I always like to drive is I want people to sort of understand why this yield, where the yield's coming from, and what the governance tokens are. So I tend to go kind of slow when onboarding people versus like just giving like sending them a tutorial article and being like, this is how you deposit in an LP, because then you can do that very easily, but you don't necessarily understand what's going on. So yeah, I sort of just same thing, sent my friends like the Finmatics videos, what are smart contracts, what is yield farming, just the basic things. And then I'm able to sort of jump into it and they can ask any questions, set them up on like a MetaMask wallet. We actually have a really good tutorial on that I'll hyperlink once I'm done here, and kind of just like showing them the protocols. And once you get someone onboarded, it's super seamless, like because a lot of DeFi mechanics are the same across the board. And I feel like that's when people start getting interested. The main thing is I'm not comfortable just letting my friends ape into stuff without understanding it. So it's just getting them past that first interest level is my main challenge. And I've only actually gotten like 3 or 4 friends past that part.
So what about you, Cammy?
If I'm going to be honest, I haven't, because I'm really bad at explaining stuff. I can't explain anything. And if I try, I go on and on. And I've actually tried to explain to people, and all I get is the nod head. And I just know that means they're not listening to me and they don't understand it to me. And I'm like, you know what, I'm not even going to carry on. So I have never been successful in bringing anyone over. And that is mainly because I'm crap at explaining.
I've got a Telegram group. So I had a bunch of chats going, like just regular text chats with different friends of mine. And it started to get like really overwhelming actually with, so I'm like, all right, let's just all get in a Telegram group together, because then it's one spot to share info. So, this is my private friend group, I guess, right? But it's a free group. It's not a paid group. Where, so, maybe like 7 or 8 people is probably what I've brought into DeFi, and they're obviously like, I think they all get it for the most part. And they're just trying to make money. So it's like part gambling, part investing, right? That's kind of what DeFi is in general, I guess. I do think we should talk about the gambling a little bit, because sometimes Definitely. we joke about it, but sometimes it is the fun part. Like we had someone that works at BSC News that told us they bought SafeMoon like forever ago. And then we all missed SafeMoon and he didn't, right?
No, and the best part is we definitely told him that like we didn't really like SafeMoon. Like we were just like, you can do that, but check out these other protocols that we like as well. And it was just kind of really funny that we got outperformed.
Well, it's so good. And like kind of what you said is you try to keep your friends from aping into stuff, but sometimes that's just the way it goes. Oh, the guy actually just commented "Safe Moon for life." I think he's a Safe Moon bag holder now, by the way. But aren't we all? Aren't we all a Safe Moon bag holder at this point? And so, with the future of BSC DeFi, where do you guys see it going? There's obviously been I don't know, not scams as much as really smart economic exploits through flash loans. And so Greg, how do you see this impacting things? Do you have an overall concern for DeFi as a whole, or do you hope this stays more just less commonplace than it feels like it is?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because there's been a lot of occurrences recently. We've had, just like off the top of my head, and I know I'm going to miss a bunch, but like in the past month or two, we've had like Value DeFi, Spartan, Pancake Bunny. Who else? I know you guys can also
Burger
throw out
Swap.
a few. Yeah, Burger Swap, Jewel Swap,
Jewel-
Belt
Jewel
Finance
Swap.
just the other day.
Mm.
So there's been a ton of these flash loans, and it definitely is worrying. Like a lot of these protocols, I would have never expected to kind of face these exploits. They've been around for a while, but I think it's something in DeFi where, unfortunately and fortunately, as more of these things happen, people start to become aware of where these loopholes are, and they're better able to guard against them. So I think it's something that DeFi will innovate and be able to capitalize on the issue. But the fact that a lot of these projects are forks, I don't know necessarily that this is going to stop anytime soon, which is a little bit worrying for the ecosystem. But overall, I don't think it's something that's going to break DeFi or the Binance Smart Chain. I think it's easily something that we'll be able to develop and innovate past. I think it's just really important to express extreme caution right now, especially for forked projects. And we like to say projects that have been around for a while. It's all fairly new. And it's interesting because platforms like BurgerSwap, I'm pretty sure BurgerSwap was the first platform on Binance Smart Chain. So it's really difficult. I would just stick to the most known projects, but even then, that doesn't save you from smart contract risks. So that's kind of just something that comes with the space and how early and novel all of these ideas are. It's kind of just a risk of the space. Like, yeah, sure, you get the appeal and the upside of thousands of percent, but smart contract risk is always going to be there and kind of should always be in the investor's mind.
Yeah, and like Ethereum had a lot of issues early on, and even Yearn Finance has been exploited. So I think it's like you said, as time goes on, everything's just getting like stress tested in real time, and it's an experiment in a sense. And we are participants in the experiment, right? Like, because there's no way to code stuff without knowing what's possible until it happens. And then they'll have to get past it at some point.
I agree, but I think on the flip side, when we know that they're all forks, like they are all fork projects. Well, mainly most of them they are. So when we see someone at the start, I'm not sure who the first one that got exploited. I think it might have been Bunny that hit the news. And if other projects out there that had the same forked contract, I really believe that other projects should have took action quicker, and this would have maybe stopped a lot of flash loans happen across the board. Because I think in a matter of 1 week, we saw at least 3 to 4 projects that got exploited. I know it's probably harder. It's harder to do, and then you got to change all the contracts and stuff like that. And it's really hard, but it would have really helped the community and saved a lot of money, of people's money, if people or projects saw what had happened and if they knew what the reasoning behind it or line of code was, and they could have really told people, look, you need to take your money out, or let's pause all withdrawals till we fix the known issues across the other platforms that have happened. And I didn't see that out for any projects across BSC, which was quite disappointing, really.
It's definitely hard as well because a lot of these exploits, they're not the same. They're similar, but I mean, I know for something like Value DeFi, it was an extra line of code that they had that got messed up, and for something like Burger Swap, it was a line of code that they were missing. So it seems like they are a little bit different for each protocol, but it's definitely something where if it happens once, like a lot of these projects should and need to be kind of jumping into it and making sure that they're not vulnerable, because while they're all a little bit different, it's still, most of these have resulted from flash loans. So
yeah, and hopefully companies like Certic will add this type of stuff to what they're looking for, right? So they'll know if something is vulnerable to all the flash loans that have happened. And I don't think there's any way for these projects to completely get rid of it. I do think that, like, if you look at the maneuvers that these exploiters do, it's like, I don't even know how, like, do they try it 100 times and they're finally right? Like, this is kind of what I want to know. And then does BSC's low fees make it possible for these exploiters to try things 100 times? Where on Ethereum, they might have to spend, like, let's say they try it, but they fail. It's going to cost a lot of money on Ethereum to keep trying. On BSC, it's like $5 an attempt.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting.
Yeah, so it's like a lower barrier to exploiter entry at the same time as the new projects coming on. But I think overall, it was a kind of a rough week, but I think it gets better.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things where as more awareness builds and as people are understanding what's happening, there will be able to better combat against it. Things like people like Certic and other auditing companies will definitely have this on their radar now, because this is what people are worried about. So it's now on the radar. I don't think it disappears, but I think it'll start to become less of an issue, especially as we start to kind of figure out these fixes and how all of these are really happening.
Awesome. Well, I think we wrap up today's on just an awful flash loan note. That's a good way to end the first live stream, guys. But for positives, the market's looking good. It's been rebounding nicely from a bloody weekend. So let's leave on a good note there, and then we'll be back on Friday, same time.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep. Awesome. Well, appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace out, everyone.